Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Inspired Afternoons with me, your host Mariam Mia. And now our segment #Kindness and Compassion. And today we feature the Greenside, two sisters from the Greenside Muslim Women's Group. And amazing sisters indeed. I have mentioned that I myself am one of the founding members of the Greenside Muslim Women's Group. As well, along with today, I am introducing Sister Sumaya Mutala and Sister Nasima Ekawaya. And just by way of introduction, in the lives of people we serve. It's just that smile, that kindness, that gesture. And what I think for me stands out in terms of Greenside Muslim Women's Group is everybody here is working full time, but yet they make time to serve the community, to serve humanity in general. When I think of Sister Sumaya's life, I just think, where does she get the time and the energy to do what she does? Alhamdulillah, she runs two businesses and they're in the food industry. So our hours are not regular 9 to 5 jobs, but it's more like 7:30 to 7:30. By the time she gets home, I know sometimes we're discussing projects and that, and she's just said, it's 8:30 and I'm just walking in the door. But yet, whenever there's an appeal, in spite of her being busy, a full-time mother of also a very young child as well, there's always time when the community needs to be served. When there's an appeal, Sister Sumaya will find time in between checking on the staff, serving the customers in it, phone in hand, and ensuring that people's appeals don't go unheard. And there's always a plan. By the next day, recipients would have received what they require. And then I have Sister Nasima here, who really are phenomenal. She does the frail care for the Greenside Muslim Women's Group, and she takes her time of a day. And for her, this is a vocation. This is a job to go and serve the elderly, be it bathing them, speaking to them, providing support to the family who are taking care of somebody who is old and somebody who's also in the bed and they bedridden. She will go there, take her time, and this has become a vocation. And for everybody, we do this as volunteers. There's no monetary gain. Yes, it's our Voyager miles for the Akhirah. So I just want to welcome my kindred sisters. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Sumaya and Sister Nasima. Welcome to Salam Media and Inspired Afternoons. Sister Sumaya.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I think it's really a privilege to be on air and our group to get this amount of exposure. Alhamdulillah, we are a small group, but being so many years on the field, I think we've got lots of practice, we've got lots of experience behind us. So alhamdulillah, being such a small group, I think we get lots of things done when we need to.
As they say, dynamite comes in small packages, and I think us being small and we're not very tall by nature, so we are double dynamite here in terms of our size and the amount of sisters we are in the group. And Sister Nasima, welcome to you as well, and joining us here on Salam Media.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Mariam, thank you for this. Jazakallah.
A pleasure. So Sumaya, just you tell us a little.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about the group. How did the group come together, and out of what need was there that a few sisters got together to empower the community in the area and also in terms of the outreach programs?
I think about just more than 8 years ago, we found that there was a need in the area for a lot of things in terms of outreach, in terms of humanitarian needs. And also, I think there was a need in terms of ghusl. When there was mayats, the other ghusl areas were becoming overwhelmed. So that left a need in the area that a few sisters then took it upon themselves to say, let's get together and form the Greenside Muslim Women's Group. Alhamdulillah, over the years, we have done lots and lots in terms of being of assistance to the larger humanitarian groups as well, like Gift of the Givers, Salam Media as well, Islamic Relief, where we assist when they need assistance on the ground. So alhamdulillah, I think maybe we in an area where we assume that a lot of, more of an affluential area, that we don't need to be of assistance. But unfortunately, especially now with COVID-19, there are lots and lots of people that need assistance. So we can't even say that we're in an area where there is no need. So we fill that void where there was a need, and whenever there is a need, we come in and we assist. I mean, just before you came online, I had a call from somebody not far from me who actually we have been assisting, who appealed to me, can we please help him out with a job? So in that case as well, we don't only give as in giving handouts, but we also make sure that we're there in terms of empowering the person to get back on their feet, to be able to assist themselves and not just be able to look out for handouts.
Mashallah, that's true. That is one of our mottos in terms of, yes, immediately somebody is in dire straits, we'll send them in terms of aid to keep them going for a week or two. But then, I mean, that's what we always do in terms of that. We ask, give your CV, we assist in terms of putting a social media post out in screening and try and assist somebody to get back on their feet. One of the things that also, once the group was formed, an appeal came from, I remember, Sister Nazreen Motara in terms of frail care, because there was a need, because in the community in terms of supporting people that have senior parents that are now going through medical difficulties, health difficulties, some are bedridden, they require assistance with bathing, and they weren't skilled people, and also there was a cost involved because hiring a private nurse, not everybody can afford that luxury, especially those that don't have access to medical aid in that. And volunteers were sought. And Nasima, you were the Greenside Muslim Women's Group representative, along with Sister Aisha Ramadan, in terms of going for frail care training. And thereafter, I know specific days you'd say you won't be able to attend meetings and that, because that is now what you do. You go home to home and you provide frail care services. So tell us a little bit about the frail care and the services that you offer in terms of the frail care.
Mariam, I'm involved with the Frail Care Group. The Frail Care Group started about 7 years ago. It's a child of the Islamic Medical Association with about 6 ladies. We are a voluntary group. The Islamic Medical Association sponsored us, and we did a 7-day course of a home-based caregiver course and a first aid level 1 course. At the same time, they also started in Lens. OCAF initiated a Darusha home care Islamic medical in the Lenasia region. Introduced home care in Lenasia with a different group of volunteers. Islamic Medical Association is also involved in Male Care Center Ahmed Qasim Mia home in Lenasia. Our number of ladies have grown. We are doing mostly the northern suburbs and the Johannesburg central regions, and we are home-based to the elderly, to the frail, people recovering, hospitalized patients with basic care support. We make special visits at home, help them into the shower, help them with bed baths, and we give our time and see what their needs are. We are a group, she comes out and patients, and we report to her on the patient's condition, and she arranges our roster on the group. We also have workshops during the year to give us more information on, we've covered a bit, we've done wound care, Alzheimer's, podiatry, and physio, and that's it. Dedicated ladies who enjoy what we do it for the pleasure of Allah, and it's a sterling collective effort from our ladies. Yeah, that's basically it. So yeah, we've got quite a few patients in the Mayfair, Crosby areas that we see too.
Such meritorious work, mashallah, Sister Nasima. Like you say, I mean, you've been trained now as a home-based caregiver, but this is all done in your capacity as a volunteer, not that you're going to get some financial gain and reward out of this. This is all, and that is what I said, ordinary people doing extraordinary, phenomenal jobs. And the thing is, I'm sure they say the dua of the elderly. I can't imagine how fulfilling it is when, even if they can't speak, and they just hold their hands together and they indicate what you've done for me. We appreciate it. We're going to make the dua. And that dua is priceless. You can't put a price on this. Sister Sumaya, talking about the dua, I mean, through the interaction and facilitation of the ghusl, once you've performed a ghusl for a beloved that is passed on, the family member that comes there, that's also another opportunity where you get appreciation and duas from the family. Tell us a little bit more about the ghusl that is performed in the Greenside area. In fact, I think Greenside is the whole Johannesburg North that they have their ghusls at the Greenside Ghusl Khana.
Alhamdulillah, I think we privileged in that well, Nasim was part of that Ghusl group as well, that we allowed, or families allow us to give that person their last rites, to be bathed, to be shrouded. And like you say, Mariam, the duas after that the family give, I think whether we're there at 3 o'clock in the morning or whether we're there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, none of us, that dua just when they're leaving, when we're done, that dua just basically, whether you've been there for 3 hours or how long you've been there, you forget about everything or what challenges you face through that ghusl. But that dua just says it all. I think we all do it for that fulfillment. We are a small group again that come out to do ghusl, the entire Joburg North area. It does take a lot of coordination as well. I think lots of people don't realize that. And lots of people don't realize it as well. I think ghusl is a calling. Not just anybody can come out and do ghusl. Apart from being trained in doing ghusl, myself that have been doing ghusl for so many years, I think I'm okay with doing certain parts of the ghusl, and then Nasima and we have Fatima on the group, or Auntie Hajira on the group, who are more comfortable with doing the kafan than I am. So it's important to know that, it's a true calling to be there at all hours of the night, as well as our men's group who do the hearse, who pick up the mayyat, who then get the mayyat back to the house and then to the qabristan, all those hours that are sacrificed in terms of family and everything else. I think, lots of people think it's just easy. It's actually not easy. But the best part is just getting that dua from the family, putting in those hours. I think none of us actually even consider anything. The minute we get a call, we jump in our cars, we get to the ghusl khana. Especially now, I think through COVID, we're going to be going through a lot of this. We're going to be having a lot more mayyat. We need to be prepared in terms of COVID. Speaking to a few doctors in the area who've suggested that we might actually be seeing numbers that we've never seen before. Myself, that had a meeting with a doctor on Saturday, made me realize that I think maybe doing ghusl over the years, we might not be totally prepared if we end up having large numbers coming in terms of COVID-19. Right now, maybe we're not there yet. I'm not sure how prepared we are. Inshallah, we don't get there. But I'm hoping all our skills and everything that we've learned over the past 7 or 8 years, we actually put that to practice and be a little bit more prepared when it comes to ghusl.
Yes, like I say, it's a selfless sacrifice of your time or your resources. I think a lot of people don't understand, because when you lose a loved one, your mind actually goes into this numb state. So you don't know what to do. In fact, some things you forget. But the thing is, the people behind the scenes who support you in terms of the burial committees, they are phenomenal, because as you've explained, from the time you get a phone call, it's the men that have to actually go and get the hearse where it is, in terms of where the hearse is parked, and to go and pick up the hearse. Then whether it's a hospital case or it's at home death, there's certain paperwork and protocols that take time in terms of arranging a death certificate, organizing a qabr that needs to be dug if it's not available, informing the cemetery, the process of then setting a time for the funeral, all the while doing this, ensuring that this person now needs to come to the ghusl facility for ghusl, and then calling the team that is going to undertake the ghusl. That team has to be on standby, because whatever we're doing, we that give our time and resources for ghusl. So whether you at work, you at a family function, or that, unless you're out of town, but around there, for that time there, I mean, many a times we've left functions like weddings and things like that, just so that this is what we've committed to, and then to go and undertake the ghusl as well. And thereafter, it's an actual burial, and then sorting out the things. So it's a process, and all the people on burial committees are not paid individuals. They all do it for volunteer. And the thing I think for listeners to understand it with ghusl is, you can't plan how many funerals you're going to have a day, or it happened that once you had done a funeral at 4 o'clock in the morning, only then to have another funeral to be prepared for ghusl at 10 o'clock again, like this.
I think in Greenside, Mariam, we've had that. We've had that where I think the one night we did 2 ghusls in one night, one after the other. We've had some weeks that we do 3-4 ghusls in the same week. Like you said, we get called out in the night, and then 3 hours later you get a call again to say there's the next ghusl. From our part, that's the sacrifices, like you say, we make in terms of family, in terms of businesses where everything is being dropped, and we all that at that ghusl to ensure that that person gets that our utmost attention at that time, to get bathed, to get shrouded, to get ready in terms of the mayat, in terms of the funeral. There's a lot of processes in place that need to get done. And I mean, again, we a handful of ladies who do this, and not all of us might be available at that time. Some of us might not be in town. Some of us might have another event that we add. But sometimes we have to drop all of that just to be there, to make sure that we do and get. And in terms of COVID, I mean, I think the numbers are coming where we're going to have 2-3 that we are doing per day. So it's going to start getting complicated. Alhamdulillah, I always say not everybody can do this. It is difficult. I think lots of people sometimes ask me, how do you put emotion aside when you're doing ghusl? I think when we get there and we know what we're dealing with, it's not always the easiest thing. Sometimes family come in and they think that they can just, it's easy, they'd be able to do things. Sometimes family walk out of their thing to us, you know what, they actually wouldn't have managed to do what we did. So alhamdulillah, over the years we've had the practice, we've had our hiccups as well, but alhamdulillah, I think we're getting there in terms of ghusl.
And may the Almighty reward you. And there are many hadiths to the effect, and one of them is those that partake in ghusl on the day of Qiyamah, and that they will be adorned in beautiful clothes. So inshallah, and that will set them apart. So inshallah, all those in whatever community or locality you are in performing, so acknowledgement to all the burial committees, that may Allah accept all your efforts and continue to use you to perform such noble endeavors. And then Sumaya, the other thing I know you very, very, I think, focused on, and also when it's stringent on, is when it comes to checks and balances in terms of people asking for assistance, and then checking that individuals or even organizations don't misrepresent their circumstances in terms of their appeal. And I know that that is something very close to your heart. Even if I come to you and I say, I've heard this appeal from somebody, you'd always say, okay, let's see how we can help them in the very short term, because they really need assistance, whether it is food assistance, medical assistance, or they need to be moved to a home or something like that, or an appeal from an organization that this is a need. Short term you assist, but then I think that is one of your strengths, where you're very stringent in terms of donor funds go to the intended recipients who are deserving of this, because I think in many instances, in terms of your experience, many times you had found that people have misrepresented, or organizations or individuals have misrepresented their circumstances in terms of what was really their needs, and also overstated their circumstances. So how do you do that in terms of stringent processes, in terms of seeing who is really worthy recipients, or which organizations really are, in terms of what they say they're doing, are doing that type of work?
I think it's important, being in the field for so many years, you realize that not everybody is needy and not everybody is deserving. There are a lot of con people out there. Unfortunately, to put it bluntly, there are a lot of con people out there. We've had our fair share in our group, that over the years we've come across, both individuals and organizations. With us, we've always realized that when we're collecting funds, we are collecting funds from a community. We are then responsible, and we are answerable to the community for the funds we are collecting, in terms of being able to answer to them, to say that we are using your funds in the correct manner and in the correct way. A lot of the times, we personally do home visits, we personally do organization visits to see whether, the person's telling us one thing on the phone, and then you actually visit them and you find out other things, and you actually do a home visit, or you do an investigation, and then you find out other things. Yes, there are lots and lots of needy people out there, but it's important also to be able to give the person that lifeline for a little while, and then to ensure that that person starts getting on their own feet and then can sort themselves out. That person shouldn't be a person that we're helping with, or an organization that we're helping with for years and years to come. It should be a temporary thing, where we assist and then we move on to the next project. In fact, even with elderly people that we've tried to assist, we've realized sometimes the person is just not who we think they are, or who they tell us they are. And apart from spending money, and that's of the community, we're spending resources, we're spending all our time and effort trying to assist, and that becomes a serious issue. So myself, I am very strict on this, that we ensure that we know who we're dealing with. We know in terms of who the organization is, that they're not duping us, that they're not duping the community. Because at the end of the day, we're then answerable to the community that we are raising funds from, to say this is the project we're having, or this is we're trying to assist. And then we find out that the person is then not in a position where they actually needed the funds. So, even in the long run, I say, in terms of when we collect zakat, it's very easy to put out messages to say we're collecting zakat. But if we're not 100% certain that that organization or that person is zakatable, then we're handing over monies that are zakat, and we are then liable and answerable for that zakat that we are handing over.
And hence, that's why, like I say, one thing is to engage in outreach programs, community programs, link up with various organizations, but nothing to be taken at face value. So whatever comes your way, like you said, in the short term, assist with maybe a food parcel, hamper, or that, but all the while, take the time, invest in terms of your checks and balances, because at the end of the day, you're working with community funds raise, and we become the face of an organization that's going to distribute, and your reputation in terms is on the line as well. So hence, that is so essential. Same, and I think that is key to all organizations. Sister Nasima, in terms of COVID now, with the frail care and that, in terms of, I'm sure home visits are cut. So are you assisting now online? How are you working in terms of family members that require assistance? Are you doing it now online?
Sorry,
Sister
Mariam, can't hear
Nasima?
you very well. Sorry, are we doing it what? Sorry.
Can you hear me? I said in terms of the frail care and the visits now, are you doing it online or through WhatsApp, or how are you providing the support that you were doing pre-COVID era in terms of the frail care and the home care support? I think we've...
Reception is very bad.
Oh, I think we've got a problem with the Sister Nasima in terms of that. But just to ask Sister Sumaya in terms of, in closing, in terms of, is there anything else that you'd like to highlight in terms of Greenside Muslim Women Group? I know in terms of our community outreach and community empowerment and that, have you established long-term relationships with organizations that you do you assist in terms of quite often? Are there any organizations that come to mind? Sister Sumaya?
Mariam, I can barely hear you on the thing.
Okay, I think, you know what, we've just in closing, we've come to almost, we've just got a minute or two left of the segment. But in closing, can you hear me? Anything else you'd like to add from the part of Greenside Muslim Women's Group? Sister Sumaya, can you hear me? I think Sister Sumaya?
I can barely hear a word you're saying. I think there's probably something wrong with your connection.
Okay, all right, let's do this. So maybe we're coming up to 3 o'clock. So I just like to, if you can hear this, Jazakallah for joining us, and Sister Sumaya, and giving us your input and your time. And I'd like to acknowledge Sister Nasima and you on air, but I'd like to acknowledge each and every sister that volunteers of their time and their resources in serving the community of the Greenside Emerentia Victory Park. As well as we have 2 medical doctors that give of their time in terms of serving the community with their wellness program as well, by way of the vitamin B injection campaign, and all proceeds go towards further community outreach from that as well. So I'd like to salute everybody, and inshallah may the Almighty continue to use everybody in the Greenside Muslim Women's Group to serve deen and humanity at large. Jazakallah so much for joining us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
We're going to go for a short break, and when we come back, we'll be discussing the do's and only here on Inspired Afternoons on Salam Media.